Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to Gary Grigsby's Eagle Day to Bombing the Reich. We're going to be playing the Bombing the Reich portion of this game, and we're going to be playing as the Allies as we continue our bomber offensive against the Germans. It is September 16th, 1943. We are in the midst of the invasion of Italy, and as a result, we are required to follow the avalanche targeting rules. We've begun to see airfields open up throughout Italy in the southern half, but you can see the Germans have begun to form up the front line here along the Gustav line with a bunch of ground units here sort of forming a straight line across the heart of the Italian peninsula south of Rome. So this is where the front is going to stabilize here, presumably for a couple of months at least, before the eventual breakthrough occurs. Now, for the moment, we are still required to bomb targets related to the ground offensive, so we can't return to bombing factories in and around Rome or anything like that, which means our air forces are somewhat limited in their ability to aid our victory, because our victory is assessed by the ability to gain air superiority, the ability to inflict industry damage, and terror damage. We can still do a little bit of terror damage against Italy with night bombing against Rome, with the British bombers that exist in the Mediterranean, but there's only about 100 of them, and so that is something we kind of are limited to. We can't bomb factories because they're not part of the avalanche targeting rules, but we still do have to follow through and do things to, please our superiors, if you will, and maybe, just maybe, lure some German fighters up to fight. That had been a more sure thing in Italy before the surrender of Italy a few days back. Now that Italy has surrendered, there's a lot less air activity on the peninsula, or at least there was last turn. But nonetheless, we have planned our raids for the Italian sort of theater in this turn already. We're going to be bombing the ground units here along the Gustav line as they're starting to get settled. We're going to bomb the rail depots back near Pescara, L'Aquila, and then a couple of depots in and around Rome. We're also going to do a further raid at Littoria, because even though it's red, it's only a 26 damage, which means it's not disastrously hurt. So we'd like to fill that in and kind of shut down the rail transport here in the south of Italy. That's the goal. In the north, well, I haven't really decided. In the north, we have a bad day for weather over Western Europe, over France, 76% cloud cover, so that means most likely any raids planned out this way will get canceled. So that's going to be a challenge. I think that means there's also a decent likelihood that the raids, the planes don't even take off from England, if that's what the assumed cloud cover is out that way. So there's a good chance there's no one flying out of here either. That being said, we did have, it felt like the Germans' air power was much weaker, maybe a little bit tired last turn, and so I am tempted to try and fly a raid in toward Germany because the cloud cover is going to be a lot less meaningful out that way, and I was debating a second Schweinfurt raid. This is kind of the place where the largest factories, other than Berlin, which I don't think we're ready to make a move for yet, other than Berlin, this is where the largest factories in the game are located. 45 at Schweinfurt, 24 at Schweinfurt, and then Regensburg is somewhere around here as well. Cassel. Is it further south? Yeah. And Regensburg has capacity 8 airplane, 6 oil, 2 oil. So they have a little bit less big stuff down here. Additionally, it would be interesting to make a play for, I think there is a large aircraft factory somewhere around here. Well, that's Nuremberg. So, capacity 14 ball bearings factory here, and 12 armament plant. Schweinfurt is such an industrial hub. Alternatively, we could maybe make something that's a little bit safer and try and stick near the valley, if you will. I'm not sure if we go to list targets. And we go to oil refinery. What's the largest? Probably around Hamburg or Berlin, I would guess, right? Bucharest, I can't hit that. Hamburg, yes, that's what we thought. Bucharest. Bucharest. Dear God, Ploiești. All the stuff is near Ploiești. Or Hamburg. Okay, I thought there was another size 10 one out there. What about, that was oil refineries. What about synthetic fuel refineries? What's the biggest one of those? That would also be well out of reach. Ruhrland? No, that's east of Dresden. Dear God. Leipzig's too far east. So even the synthetic plants, a lot of these are not in easy reach. There is one in the Ruhr, the Hydrover Schloven here, capacity 17. And Leipzig again. This one's already pretty badly damaged here. Brooks is out of reach. And that one's too close to Berlin. Hey, Coffee Filter, how you doing? Seatown, good to see you. By the way, if there is any echo, I do apologize for that, guys. I made some changes to my office. I had an interview on Friday for a potential job, and I wanted to make sure my office was nice and clean for my camera angles and stuff like that. And apparently cleaning up the clutter kind of created an echo in my ear anyway. So, but good to hear you're not noticing anything. Where's this largest? This guy's near Leipzig. Why is everything so far east? Everything that I want to bomb is so far out of reach. IG Farben, knapsack. Bombing IG Farben would be a very ethical choice. I don't think we have any really big factories of the avionics. I'm not even sure if there's any engine factories that are really large. Berlin. I want to know how the Berlin factories are damaged. From who damaged them? I also don't really want to go to Berlin. I'd like to keep it further west. Even if it's deeper into Germany, I think my avenue for a successful approach is largely tied to the Ruhr area. Okay. So Regensburg does have the largest aircraft factory. It's pretty small, capacity 8. Leipzig, Munich, Italy, Austria, Marienburg, that's near Danzig, dear God. A lot of actually decently large air factories in Italy, apparently, northern Italy. Okay. Well, I think I've probably got 2 decent-sized raids. Ball bearings, ironically enough, have the biggest capacity of any of these things. Schweinfurt, as you would expect. Paris, but that one was pretty badly damaged last we saw. Okay. Still trying to figure out what makes the most sense. Krupp steel mill here. 85 damage in the Ruhr. 97 damage for this Krupp steel mill. Those are the 2 biggies. I think the rest of these guys are mostly out of reach. Gutenhof, I mean, we could hit this one here. Maybe that's one we should hit either way. There might be flak there, but let's plan a raid there. This is going to be maybe one of our diversionary raids. Yeah. All right, so we will plan this raid to take place at 10 o'clock at 19. Oh, we're in the Ruhr. We'll go 22,000 feet. This is kind of the boundary of where the weather starts to get bad or good, so we may not even get there, but so we'll try for it. Pick lead unit. Who's got the best morale? Probably not going to fly Typhoons into the Ruhr. I don't want to fly 17s. Let's use B-24s. I only have one group? I thought I had two groups of them. Alright, well then in that case we will use 17s. Just a few of them though. The 351st Bomb Group will be the lead. This is our secondary strike, so we're only going to send slightly lower caliber. We'll have 88 pilots or groups above 50 morale. And then we'll add 3 more groups, so 172 bombers all told. Some of those with very low morale, some of those with higher fatigue. Let's actually drop one of these. The low morale guys who are also tired don't need to fly. So go 142 bombers hitting this target. You know, let's actually make that an... When's the last time we got air intel on this target? Can I not? Last recon 2 days ago. So we probably have a pretty good target picture. So let's start this one at a little bit earlier than maybe normal. We're going to do for a... Because I might want the fighters from this raid that I'm going to send on escort to fly on the other mission. Okay. So this is 1, 2. All right, we'll do 2 this here. 3 is here. Initial point down there. Try and squeeze between them. Okay. I hate how the outbound, when you do outbound 3, it like resets everything. Okay. All right. Okay, so we'll send 100 and some odd bombers here for this target. It is going to be a heavy flak target, so that's why we bumped the altitude up a little bit as well. Escorts, how far can you get them? Okay. Maddie Fing, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. All right, so not great. We'll do this here. We'll have those guys join on the way out. All right, 4th fighter group. You guys go. We'll do a 10-minute delay on you. So 45 P-47s are going to meet up just shy of the channel, cover all the way toward Arnhem, so most of the way in. We'll have a 2nd Thunderbolt group here. The P-40 or the 78th fighter group will join a little before the Arnhem group pulls off, and they'll cover through Arnhem all the way almost to the target. The 355th will cover from the channel to the target. 56 will cover on the way out and then passed into the channel from the target. So hopefully this minimizes how much these guys suffer. I should actually edit these guys. So we should do 3,000 feet above. As feels like it's a good altitude. I'd rather they be, frankly, high altitude interceptors rather than joining and not accomplishing much. My goal is to shoot down Germans. Okay. All right, let's add these Spitfires that are far away for the channel leg just to get anybody who might still be a straggler off of them. Cover them on the way in. All right, so that should do it for the first raid here. It'll be a 9 o'clock raid. It'll be over the target by 10:45. So I would assume it'll be done by like 1 or 2, which could give my fighters time to rearm and refuel for a second raid later in the day. All right, so we'll do 9 o'clock, and then we'll do a recon flight to that same target. That will take off at 7 or 6. Sunrise is 6:37, so we'll do 6:50. Same altitude, same course. If I was the AI, I might pick up on this, but I don't know if the AI does. Trying to get updated target details before the raid, but we don't have a ton of time given it's a 9 a.m. strike to do that. So we'll sneak in what we can, and then we'll also do... Whoops. Also do a PM flight on their way out to get a BDA on the actual target that we hit. Okay. And this is the nitty-gritty of planning missions here in this game. All right, so we're going to hit that steel mill here. There was one other. I wanted to hit the B-24s, do a diversion somewhere. I don't know who I want to hit with them, but I suppose we could try and damage this armament plant a little bit more. What's the last recon we've got on them? 1 day ago, so that's a good strike. They will do, the first raid's at 9 o'clock, so these guys will do a 10... let's do an 11 o'clock strike. 22,000 feet. B-24s. Actually, that's a British B-24 squadron. Maybe that's why they only had one. No, the Americans still just have the one also. Okay. We'll do a close escort on that. It's only one bomber group, so hopefully 15 escorts is enough for 32 bombers. Okay. We could bomb a U-boat factory. That would be an option. We don't have to bomb the pens to keep the politicians off us. And let's do one more day raid. Okay. All right. You are once again watching The Historical Gamer. Once again. I'm hoping everyone is having a good night. Thank you. I hope you're having a good one too. Now, this is right on the edge of where the cloud cover may get bad, so I don't know if we'll actually see this raid go off today, but we'll see. 2 British bombers here, 23 B-24s planned for this mission. So we can't cover them all the way. Okay. Oh, maybe the Mustangs can, but they're terrible fighters at altitude. Okay. All right, we're doing close escorts on this mainly because my main objective here is just to keep the fighters off. All right. So we'll see about that one. I didn't do any recon for that other flight, did I? Okay. Hey, Hauser, how you doing? Just planning some strikes here on Germany for today. Now, the weather is bad, so these strikes may all get canceled, but we'll see. Kind of a mixture of both, maybe. We've got a B-17 strike hitting a steel mill here that is not too badly damaged in the Ruhr. We have a B-24 strike for the RAF hitting a aluminum factory here near Aachen. So kind of medium depth attacks. We also have a B-24 strike hitting Haarlem here in Holland. So focusing on closer targets that we can hurt that are not dramatically outside the range of our fighter escort, although a little bit beyond the range of our fighter escort. We aren't going to Schweinfurt quite yet, at least not today. I'm trying to decide. Part of the problem here is I need to get a little bit deeper into Germany to make sure that we can actually drop bombs today since the weather's bad, if assuming our raids get off. So that's the hard thing here. Will I be doing the TFA demo? Yeah, I will. It's not out yet, right? It's still delayed. Or I don't know, delayed. I don't know if it's delayed or not, but when it's not out yet. I'm just waiting for the word. The steel mill has no recon. So I have no idea what the capacity is on that. But yes, whenever I have access to it, and whenever I'm allowed to do it, I will do it. Okay. All right. We should move up toward Munster there. Have our exit point here. Outbound one there. Okay. This is a lot more flying than I would like. But it is just a recon flight, so. I'm still not convinced these raids will even go off today. With the weather being what it is over France, fair bet the weather. I don't think England is a separate weather zone. So if we're socked in by rain and fog, we won't be flying. Or at least we'll be flying at a greatly reduced rate. I want something with more than 10 capacity to bomb. That's still mostly in good shape. Go for the chemical factory down here, IG Farben. We did say that there is nothing more ethical than bombing an IG Farben plant. Wax and wane all you want about strategic bombing. That argument goes away pretty quick when you start saying you're bombing IG Farben, I think. Okay. All right, just getting some recon on that power plant so we can see what the actual strength of that is, or size of that is. I need to bomb something that has meaning. We need to blow something up that is big. Okay. Karnap Kraftwerk. Okay. That one has 26 capacity and only 9 damage. I don't know if it's in range of decent weather. It's like right on the line, I think. We haven't had good recon there in 63 days. All right. So I think this one will be the big strike we'd been talking about with the 17. So we'll do that takeoff time of maybe 2 o'clock. Nope, not B-26s, B-17s. B-17G group, the 306 bomb group. They got a little bit of fatigue, but we'll try and focus in on the guys who don't have any, or who are fuck it. All right, we'll just send in the whole kit and caboodle. Everybody gets to go. We'll do everybody except the 2 groups with 15 fatigue. That'll be our cutoff. If you're over 15, you don't have to fly. Lead squadron only has 11 planes, I'm aware. I don't know if that matters, does it? All right, this only has a few. Well, we're not bombing in a bomber stream, right? We're bombing in a formation. So I think the lead's size is a little less relevant than like if it was a British group, I think. All right, let's push it 30 more minutes and see if any of those morning fighters will be ready by now. No. Any more if we do it 20 more? No. 3 o'clock takeoff is kind of late, but it will get us those fighters. So let's do that. This one is going to be just at the edge of what our fighters can do. So we will have these fighters meet up over the channel, cover us in through Aachen with 20 or so Spitfires, 30 Spitfires. We will have an overlapping wing, so more will join while that first group is still with us. Then we'll have some P-47s join and cover us almost all the way to the target. All right, we're going to do that, but I need to go back to the high escort strategy. So let's do this. Let's do the 40 group. I am trusting my boys to largely fend off enemy fighters on their own by going with the high escorts. Okay, so these guys are they all should be there no matter what because they did not fly in the first group. Now we will, starting at the 60-minute mark, we will start having P-47s join on the way out that have already flown. So these guys may come in a little bit tired, but presumably by this point, the Germans will be tired too. So they're there mainly to drive the Germans off. All right. So that's a big raid. 200 plus bombers, 300 plus fighters. Start time is 1500, so 3 o'clock. Over target time is 1706, so 5:06. Sunset is not until 1858. Okay, so actually they may be flying when it's starting to get dark. Huh. Sunset is 1858, so that's 6:58. We will be an hour. It's 2 hours from start time to target. So if we assume 2 more, we won't be landing before sunset because they'll be here. So they'll be landing in darkness. That feels like maybe a risky strat. I don't know. I guess we'll find out if they fly. Hopefully they don't all crash. Okay, let's do some recon for this raid. Probably won't be able to get a post-bombing assessment because it'll be too late. Okay. All right, so we got 3 bombing raids here near the Ruhr planned out. Let's do some morning strikes with some tactical aviation too. So at 1800, we will fly some Typhoons in on this target. Okay. Okay. Got some limited numbers of escorts to go with these guys. I'll actually do 9 o'clock. 15,000 feet. Again, bad weather. We may not get anything there. When's the last recon? 1 day ago. So that's... The recon is up to date at least. Okay. So we'll do a BDA, post-raid damage assessment. Okay. Anything else getting repaired we'd want to bomb? Overcast is down to 200 feet, which makes me think at that low overcast that these raids aren't even going to happen. So to that end, maybe we don't do additional raids. We can do the auto-plan recon, I think, for the 8th Air Force. Oh. Okay. Nobody has resources for a large-scale recon. The British do. Okay. So, or maybe they don't. Strange. All right. So, do we want to do a night bombing raid with the RAF? Probably. Let's bomb... Unzerbrook. Okay. Moon set is at 8 in the morning, so we're not going to get no moon. We'll come in at 18,000 feet with the moon. We will try to go with guys who haven't flown recently, so we'll go with a Lancaster squadron here. We had a decent-sized raid last turn, so maybe we will Okay. Why am I doing last one? These guys are tired. What am I doing? I flipped that upside down. I shouldn't have been flying with these guys again. I should have been flying with the clean crews. No, those guys fatigued for the Pathfinders is fine. Okay. So flip that chart and go with the guys who haven't flown in 4 days. Okay. All right, so 500 bombers heading toward Unserbrook. And then let's just auto-target the intruders and see what happens. Doesn't have adequate... What, really? Hey, Spider. Hauser, I was going to name this this stream, Do Bombs Have Tariffs? But maybe I thought that was ill-advised. All right. RCRM. Multiple planes. Oops. I wonder how good the jamming is if I just space it out. We laugh so we don't cry. That's my motto in life. All right. We'll see how this goes. Okay. All right. It's a little bit light on some of the stuff in Northern Europe, but we'll see. Might as well just see what happens on this turn. Your dad was a Lancaster crewman? Yeah, my grandfather served on the Oklahoma City as a doctor. And I mean, that was a ship. It was a little bit different, but he pretty much never talked about. Very rarely did he talk about anything. I think there was one thing my mom said he mentioned. It's like a dude stuck his head out of a turret at the wrong point and got decapitated. You know, even like banal stuff that could happen literally in any service, and like that isn't unique to war. That could happen anytime a ship's at sea. Ships are dangerous. But Oklahoma City, kind of a late war Cleveland class. Served in the Okinawa campaign and some bombardments off Japan. So saw some kamikaze stuff, but all right. Our recon crews are up, flying around, taking pictures. Okay. A lot of visible targets, so that's good news. What's the... I'm not worried about cloud cover over Italy, but what's it look like over... Yeah, the Ruhr is very, very socked in. So it would have been better, I think, for us to fly east to like Hamburg or something. Fudge. Well, I guess we'll see if our bombers even fly. Let alone if they can see and drop on anything. Okay. I always do like 3 rounds of recon because I don't want to fly guys up to a target, take fire, and then not take photos. So I'll fly 3 guys up there to make sure someone takes a picture. You know, it's funny too because sometimes the photos coming in, even in a obscured scenario, can still like find a gap. Not these guys though. Any break in the cloud cover? Okay, let's stop here for a sec. So it looks like our typhoons and mosquitoes are up. I don't know that they're going to see anything. There's a little bit of a gap in here. Maybe if that gap moves east a bit. I guess we'll see. Meanwhile, there's a convenient cloud line just directly over the Gustav line and nothing else in Italy. So that's great. When we sent all our bombers in to hit the damn ground targets. Yay, they bombed the target. Good job, boys. They were able to see the target, and they are bombing it. Destroying some flak 88s, too. Okay. I'd rather they be bombing the factory and not the guns around it, but hopefully they're doing both. No German fighters have risen to meet them yet. We've got a decent chunk of Typhoons here hitting this target. One destroyed by flak. Nice thing is the Typhoons are nice and quick. They were designed, I believe, to replace the Hurricane, and initially were intended as fighters. Became fighter bombers because their fighter performance was lackluster. But that does mean that they are fast. So they can get in and out much quicker than most tactical bombers. Okay. So first raid came in and out without really any losses. B-17 raid up, getting intercepted by 109s here near the channel. Spitfire crashes on the runway. 109 crashes on the runway. I guess bad weather has its perks. P-47's bouncing some 109s here through the clouds. Got one of them. Another Typhoon crashed on landing. Got to imagine this would be a nightmare of a... I guess the cloud cover, they're above the clouds. They're at 20,000 feet, and the enemy, and the clouds end at 7,300. So they can't see to the deck, but they should have clear visibility above the clouds. Bit of a swirling dogfight here near Arnhem. 190s and P-47s and 109s all duking it out mostly. Not a ton of focus on the bombers yet, but fighters expend considerably more fuel during dogfighting time, so that does throw off our neatly planned chart. I believe that chart assumes no engagements. But be a good turn to weaken the German fighters a bit more. They had a rough turn yesterday. So did our medium bombers, but I'm less worried about them. Okay. Bombers have made it through. They've lost a few 17s, but nothing drastic quite yet. They're getting close to the target. The fighter attacks intensity is picking up a bit. Looks like we shot one of them down. The target is visible. Yeah! Bomb that steel mill, boys. Taking some heavy flak as they're dropping. All right. Good job, boys. Those 170 or so 17s pounding that steel mill. Hopefully it's an accurate drop. I don't know if we had a good photo yet of that power plant for the second raid of the day. BF-110s are coming in, firing some rockets here. Looks like they got one of our 17s. I think right now our 17s are largely uncovered. I think most of our fighters had to turn back by now. So we've got another round of fighters which will show up here in a little bit, but for the moment they're uncovered, making them much more vulnerable. At the moment they're mostly taking damage, but those stragglers will likely get picked off by German interceptors on their way out. 109's going for B-17Gs, doing some damage. G2s, interestingly. That's an older squadron, right? Because the G6 would be the currently modernized one. P-47 crashes. Pilot is wounded, not killed, so that's good. I mean, I'd rather he not be killed or wounded, but if you're going to be one of them, T2, is that a trainer? Either way, it got a B-17. Okay. So this is where the losses start to swing away from us having a slight advantage to the Germans having an advantage, but still nothing eye-watering. We've got 47 P-47s coming in here, approaching the channel. All these guys, a lot of these guys are really spread out. This is where they die. This is where they die. Now, if we do have a later afternoon raid, a lot of these German fighters would have already flown at least once, so hopefully they're tired by the time that second raid comes in. Taking a lot of damage here. Stop shooting my boys down! My boys! Okay. Well, there's G6s there too. A naval variant? So what, built for the, oh my goodness, what was it called? The German carriers that never saw the light of day? Graf Zeppelin or something? All right. Well, got some Spits coming in here too. All right, so it looks like the bombers made it out. They didn't lose like 10% of their crews yet. So at least that's good. Medium bombers over Italy hitting their targets. Looks like the target's visible. Okay. I'm here because I don't want to get fined, basically. That's why these raids are hitting these German troops. I don't really care about those raids. I'd rather be going after factories. Okay. A lot of AFVs getting destroyed on this raid. That looks like it's a good raid. Okay. All right, come on. I don't want to wait forever on this. All right. All right, so the bombers hitting the target in Holland. I think those are B-24s. 99% obscure, and I'm guessing they didn't drop on target. Some B-17s crashing on landing here. B-24s over Rome. They can see their target. Dropping on the Rome rail yard. Okay. Any chance we get some terror score out of that? Doesn't look like they're starting any fires, but you never know. Okay. All right. Oh, there are fires, urban fires being started by these B-24s. Okay. So you do get some urban damage there then, I guess, from that. Cool. So bombing rail yards kind of has a dual effect, right? If you bomb the rail yards as the British, it just becomes an area bombing unless it's a daytime unit. The Americans can't do direct urban bombing in this game, I don't think. I mean, they kind of do. Again, a lot of it comes down to how big the raid is, how accurate the bombing is. Technically, you're going for the rail yard, but it's in an urban area, so... You know, it looks like Squadron 88 had its raid canceled. A larger number of planes crashing on landing, which I can only assume is due to weather. Yes, so anytime the British do a night bombing raid, that is considered firebombing. Your goal for the British is to inflict terror, and that is represented by the terror score. And those red squares that you saw earlier, those are fires. You don't choose to firebomb per se. It's just when you do a nighttime raid on an urban center, that's what they do. Okay. I didn't see anything about the B-17 raid for this afternoon being canceled yet, though. Okay. All right, so this was a little less ideal from a losses point of view. We haven't lost disastrous numbers yet, but it hadn't been great. Certainly given that we've only shot down a handful of German fighters, about 11. PM fighter or recon flights going out here trying to assess the damage that our bombers inflicted. Okay. 17 raid is in a half an hour. I really am curious how well they will land over England with no lights at night. We will see. Assuming the raid doesn't just get canceled altogether, which certainly could happen. All right, photo recon. I think we got good recon on the first strike. Oh, yep. Heavy weather. Bomb group canceled. So I think that second strike isn't even going to go off, which is funny because those were the more rested B-17s. So they got another day off. But at least we got a couple of... I think we had 2 good bombing raids in the morning. One of them over Holland I don't think worked out, but 2 good bombing raids on smaller targets, one from B-17s, one from British B-20 or Typhoons, I think it was, or maybe they were B-24s. And then I think we've still got the night raid, which shouldn't, well, I guess as long as they can form up, it should still occur. Okay. So, form up delayed over Tunis. I don't know who's flying down there. Okay. Got it. Delay, delay, delay. Fine. I don't care about you guys down there. I care about England. Oh. I decided to bomb Rome again, I guess. Wellington's dropping their bombs over Rome. They appear to be dropping on target, a little bit to the east of the city here. But you can see there is a small firebombing raid going on Rome. I think about 90 to 100 Wellington 10s and one squadron of Liberators. So it looks like they all dropped on target within the city limits. They didn't do as much fire bombing. Of course, the Liberators dropped way off here to the north in an open area. Didn't do a lot of damage there, but one sector started on fire. All right, it looks like the raid for the RAF, at least some of the raids were canceled. One of the squadrons was canceled. These are the RCM aircraft. All right, boys, how many of you are going to fly into Osnabrück, and are you going to be able to hit the target? All right, they're attacking a Halifax RCM. That is not ideal. I don't have a lot of radar countermeasure aircraft. At least the Germans are being forced to fly, though. So was it really just the RCM aircraft who flew? Did no one else fly? One Halifax crashes on landing, another crashes on landing. Oh, lame. All right. Well, it looks like the bulk of the raid got canceled then. Kind of a lower activity turn then, I guess. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results here. So, campaign summary. Before we were at 1,600 strategic bombing points, we're still kind of at 1,600. Points for ready aircraft. The Germans actually still dropped further, down under 900. They lost 30 aircraft. We lost 30. They lost 10. They lost 4 pilots. Most aircraft loss was the 109 G6. They lost 5 of them. We lost 15 B-17s today. That's half of our total losses. So if we go to the aircraft losses tab here, 15 B-17Fs, 3 B-17Gs. So actually 18 Fortresses. 1 Mosquito 6, 1 Spitfire 11, 1 Lightning Recon plane, 1 Boston 3, that would have been over Italy, 1 B-25 over Italy, 3 B-24s, some of those were over Italy, 1 Kitty Hawk, 1 P-38 Lightning, 1 Spitfire 5, 4 Spitfire 8s, 1 RCM, 2 Typhoons, and surprisingly no P-47s despite the dogfights they were involved in. The enemy lost 2 BF-110s, 2 190A6s, 1 190A5, 5 109G6s, and 1 G5. All told, the Axis only flew 618 sorties. The Allies flew almost 2,000 sorties. We have nearly doubled the Axis sortie totals so far in the campaign. Top pilots. Still no aces, at least in terms of the time frame this game covers, which has been about a month. None of our 4 kill pilots got hurt. After action reports, 142 bombers hit the steel mill at Gudenhoffenens, did 69 damage. Nice. Would have liked a little bit more, but I guess that's what they did. It already had a little bit of damage, but it wasn't red, so that's good for something, I guess. 117 bombers hit the Valdrej armament plant here, which was basically completely destroyed. Those were the Typhoons, I believe. Rome did a little bit of damage with the 90 night bombers we flew out that way. Austrians. All right, so we obliterated several rail depots. L'Aquila, Austrians. Lorenzo's depot, 56% destroyed, not fully. Badly disrupted 3 units here, the 65th Infantry Troop, the 44th, and the Hermann Goering Panzer Force, all badly disrupted. Also, the 94th was even worse disrupted. And then no real change to the 3rd Panzer Grenadier Truppen. Okay. Aircraft factory near Amsterdam Fokker, 45% damage. Those guys ran into heavy cloud cover. Pescara, the port, was obliterated. So a lot of good damage on transportation hubs here in Italy. Okay. The worst bomber casualties were the steel mill near Gutenhofens. They lost 17 out of 142 bombers, so those are pretty heavy losses. Not like a third of the bombers or anything, but still pretty heavy losses. Germans did lose 10 interceptors on that. They lost almost all their aircraft on the day on that raid. Okay. So I think we end the phase there. Still stuck on Avalanche. When are we going to be ridded of the support for the invasion that's already bogging down now with the Germans occupying the Gustav Line? Come on, guys. Let me be free. Also, no more airfields have been stood up recently. So we've got a number of fields here, some of which we could move troops into that would be closer than North Africa for sure, but nothing. I was hoping for some like front line airfields and nothing like that quite yet. Closest is south of Naples. It does give these P-40s and Kitty Hawks and Spitfires much better access to the front line, but it's only a handful of the potential squadrons. It goes back and forth, Black. Definitely some of the raids you lose worse. Some of them are better. We lost basically historical when we hit Schweinfurt on the historical date, so. What's the weather report look like? Come on. 51% cloud cover, still pretty bad cloud cover day over Western Europe, 26% over Germany. Italy's still mostly clear. Can I see the pools of aircraft? I forget where I go to see that. Maybe summary. Nope. Do I have to be back on that strategic line? I might have to be. No change to the score, at least. Well, we've got this. So we have 578 B-17Fs in the pool still. We have 328 B-24Ds, 303 B-26B Marauders. We've lost 351 fortresses so far in about a month of combat. We've lost about 45 Thunderbolts in a month of combat. Let's see here. Much lower pools on some of these other aircraft. We do have 32 Fortress Gs. So we potentially can, it looks like we've incorporated 224 into the front line, 32 in the pool, and then 15 have been lost. So we are starting to produce enough Gs to get to phase out more of the Fs. Not quite yet, but in a day or two we can probably swap another squadron out yet. Where are we at for the other planes? The P-38J, we have none in the pool. We replaced a few squadrons aircraft with Js, and so we've lost 2. We've produced 144, but the squadrons we've replaced must still be needing a few more, so nothing in the pool yet for those. The H has a small pool. We've lost 110 Hs. I didn't realize that. It's a lot. Mustang A's, there's 37 in the pool, 5 of the Mustang 1s. Those are early model P-51s with the older engines that the British are using. They've lost over 120 of the damn things. Okay. All right. Well, got 16 Apaches in the pool. Those things have been wrecked for as few of them as we have. Well, the weather's still not great. We could make another play for a Ruhr bombing. We could try that. I don't want to get fired because I don't have high enough rates of sortie rates, but I think, go ahead and save here. It's kind of a nondescript turn, a little bit slower, but we are now 32 turns in, and I'm hoping to get off the avalanche orders soon, but we'll see. With that being said, guys, this was going to be a short stream, so I do apologize for that, but I got to head off and get some sleep. I hope you guys did enjoy this little brief look at Gary Grigsby's Bombing the Reich. And, yeah, that's going to do it for tonight. I'm going to send you guys over to Wolfpack, who is playing some Icewind Dale. Wolfpack, my co-host on the Single Malt Strategy podcast. And an all-around good dude. So I'm going to go ahead and send you guys over there. Hope you guys have a good one. Thanks again for coming out. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out. Bye-bye.